Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Today's Show Detroit. I am pleased to welcome Pamela Shanehouse of the Shanehouse Group. She is the president and founder of the Shanehouse Group and has done some wonderful, wonderful work in diversity, equity, and inclusion in different areas. So, Pamela, thank you so much for being with us today. How are you?
Oh, I'm terrific. I've never been introed like that. It's very exciting. I'm good. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to have you. So, you've done so much. If you don't mind, I'd love to just jump right in. Is that okay?
Not a problem.
Great. Wonderful. Again, it is such a pleasure to have you. So, first, I mean, you're a very, very, very highly accomplished senior executive and entrepreneur and consultant with more than 30 years of success across the fashion, apparel, and professional fundraising sectors. And of course, you have wonderful experience in the branding and marketing aspect of fashion, and of course, working with different companies. And your work has delivered results in the field of size inclusivity and diversity in fashion. And you, of course, are now the president and CEO, as we mentioned, of the Shane House Group, a fashion strategy company working with retailers and designers in the field of size inclusivity and diversity. And you are, quote, the inclusive fashion specialist. So, I'm curious, Pam. I mean, what led you to diversity, equity, and inclusion and inclusive fashion early on?
I am from a manufacturing family. My parents had the largest manufacturer of children's wear in Canada, and I was taught fashion. I was taught manufacturing. I was taught how to speak and deal with a supplier. This, supplier diversity, all of these things at a very young age as a teenager. And I kind of fell into fashion after being in the field of professional fundraising, raising multi-million dollar campaigns for charities across Canada, because my daughter, Allie, who was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 19 in 1999, and she passed away at the age of 26 in 2006. And when she was having her first treatment, she had gained a significant amount of weight from steroid treatment. And she was very fashion forward, and she needed some jeans. And we used to buy our clothes in the States. Remember, I'm from Toronto, Canada, and couldn't find anything in Toronto. So, but she needed the clothes. So we went to a store that serviced the plus size community, and she sat down on a bench and cried and said, "They're telling me that I'm fat because I have to go into that store. I can't shop anywhere else. They're telling me that I'm different. I'm not different than anybody." And she had a very cute sense of humor. And she said, and my body deserves better than polyester, which was her name for polyester. So I said to her at that time, "You know what, Allie, when you get better, we're going to start a clothing line." I don't know how that came up. I think it was my father making me regurgitate those words. And she was very instrumental in the founding of Alley Style, which was the corporation that we founded. And I started it about 2 years after she passed away with her vision. And we were, I'm not a pun person, but I use this pun saying that we were way ahead of the curve because we were made from sustainable product. Nobody understood that. We were made in Canada. Nobody thought that there was any manufacturing in Canada. And we were size inclusive, which meant that we went for all sizes. So we went from an extra small all the way up to a 3X. We didn't promote, even though I was known as the plus size expert, we didn't promote that. We promoted, this is our brand and these are our sizes. But it was a tough go, and because people didn't understand it, they wanted great product, which is what we had for Walmart prices, which is not what you can do when you manufacture in Canada. So I fell into the fashion world with that. And when it comes to the disability world, unfortunately, I fell into that from the age of 5. I was diagnosed with a bone disease uh, called hereditary multiple exostosis. Very rare disease at the time. Still, they don't know many people of my age that have it. It's not as rare as it was, but I'm one of the older individuals who are who are surviving it. And I was told when I was in my 40s that by the time I was in my 50s, I would be in a wheelchair, which I'm not. So, you grow with that disease. It's a bone disease. I've had close to 30 operations. And from the time that I was a child all the way up to a couple of years ago when I had hip replacements that had incredibly difficult to put in because my body is differently formed. So I guess that whole world of size inclusivity and disability and everything is just embedded in every part of my body and soul. So I hope that that's a long-winded. That's how I got into it.
Absolutely. I mean, you bring up some great points. It is essential, and I think you said it, right on. I mean, you had to, and of course, the Shane House Group aims to inspire and empower women and men across the corporate sector, and to engage in purposeful career development and take on leadership for important causes, and to lead change with more conviction and confidence, and improve our workplace and community for all. And of course, this is done by you offering complex understandings of issues related to professional women and work. And of course, what you teach will help increase self knowledge and enhance capabilities as leaders, managers, and team contributors. And of course, the Shane House Group will examine the opportunities, challenges, and trade offs of organizational dynamics experienced by women in the workplace and in organizations, as well as reflect on uh, practices effective within corporate individuals. So, I'm curious with all that, why is it important, Pam, to engage, in purposeful career development and take on leadership for important causes to lead change with more conviction and confidence, and improve that in our workplaces?
Well, first of all, to dumb that sentence down, which maybe I should do, is to really say that, especially now when we're going back from COVID, and I always stop people when they say, oh, it's this new normal. And I say, this isn't a new thing. We're going back. This is your corporation. It was your corporation before, it's your corporation now. And we can help you with change. But you're going back with the same people who you had to put on, on leave, or that have been in the house or something like that. And you want to be able to entice them to come back and to welcome them back. And there are certain things, especially when you're talking about DE&I, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging within the market, is there are different communities that want to play a role here. And you can't just have a board that looks exactly like you and I,
Mm-hmm.
or looks exactly like you and I without me, without a
Right.
woman,
Right.
right? Or anything like that. You've got to have consistent, diverse people who have brilliant minds and will give you a different perspective, which is what you want. You want to grow. You don't want to stay stagnant, because especially with what's happening in business now, if you aren't a leader in what you do, or if you don't find a niche market that works really, really well for what you're choosing to do, you're going to get, you know, thrown into this big cesspool. of other corporations. So you've got to stand out. And that's what we do. We do it in Canada, and we can do it also in the States. We can help you find grants. We can, in Canada, we find specific grants, job grants that are available for corporations that have more than 10 employees, where we can train the leaders. You got to do it from the top down, because if the leaders and the board don't believe in this, then don't bother. Then it's not worth the effort,
Absolutely.
and it's definitely not worth hiring me.
Absolutely, Pam. I mean, essential, absolutely, to making sure that those executives and corporate businesses have those issues on the forefront of thought. Absolutely. Folks, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Pam.